Hello there, lovely good evening and welcome to Camnet TV main news today, the 15th of February in the year 2025. Let's take a look at the headlines. 4 suspected criminals die in bullet exchange with police. 15% tax a threat to the mining industry. National policy for persons with disability actualized. In international news this evening, Bukavu in turmoil as M23 and AFC rebels seize KAVUMU airport. In sports this evening, Fars age struggling under 20 player. Join me for these and many more other big stories after the break. To present Camnet TV main news in detail, I'm Tapelo Joe Smarter. Energy expert Leonard Sepe has commended ZESCO for implementing the net metering initiative, highlighting its potential to enhance power sustainability in the country. Speaking in an interview with Camnet TV News, Mr. Sepe emphasized that given the current power deficit, enabling individuals and businesses to generate their own electricity and supply excess power to the national grid is a crucial step toward energy stability. He further noted that the initiative promotes environmental sustainability by encouraging the use of renewable energy sources such as solar power. Mr. Sepe has urged those with the capacity to adopt this initiative, stating that it will contribute to the country's resilience amid ongoing power challenges. ZESCO recently announced that it would connect about 1,000 individuals to net metering and has since been carrying out sensitization campaigns in different parts of the country.
It will be connecting to about 1,000 individuals willing to go on the net metering initiative. And this program is aimed at encouraging more and more individuals willing to do business in the energy sector to make sure that they produce more power and sell excess energy to the national grid. And ZESCO must be commended for this initiative in the sense that this initiative will not only empower individuals, but it's also one way of ensuring that we promote environmental sustainability in the sense that the renewable energy adds or does not damage the environment as opposed to the use of fossils or fuel which use carbon dioxide as well as other pollutants. So this initiative must be commended. And also this initiative has a possibility of preserving enough water. The use of renewable energy sources only use less and less water. So even if we experience the scenario that we experienced last year, where this country was hit by heavy drought, this program will not add to that problem. So it's something that most individuals, businessmen can consider going into the net metering so that they can support ZESCO's initiative to make sure that excess energies sold back to the national grid. The
Zambia Police Service has confirmed the killing of 4 suspected criminals in a shootout following a theft at Crossroads Mall on February 10, 2025. The suspects were intercepted near Millennium Village by the Anti-Robbery Squad and the Scorpion Unit. Police Public Relations Officer Ray Hamonga says the suspects attempted to flee when officers moved in to arrest them, prompting the police to fire warning shots which resulted in the injury of one suspect. Mr. Hamonga says during the interrogation, the injured suspect led officers to Kasupe, where they had hidden a firearm and stolen items. At the scene, one of the suspects attempted to seize an officer's rifle and fired a shot, prompting the police to respond. All four suspects were fatally shot as they tried to escape. The police, however, managed to recover several stolen items, including mobile phones, a Lenovo laptop, and a device suspected to be used for jamming vehicles' locks. The laptop was identified by its rightful owner, Paul Kalobwe, who had previously reported it stolen. The bodies of the suspects have been taken to the University Teaching Hospital, UTH mortuary, for identification and post-mortem. The police have urged the public to remain vigilant and report any suspicious activities. The Community Action Against Corruption, CASC, says repealing the Anti-Corruption Act is not the most effective approach to combating corruption in the country. This comes after government's intentions of reviewing the Anti-Corruption Commission Act number 3 of 2012 to forfeit Zambia's fight against corruption. CASC Chief Executive Officer Brighton Tembo, in an interview with Camnet News, emphasized that instead of repealing the legislation, the government should ensure that all individuals, regardless of their status or position, are subjected to thorough investigations and held accountable under the law if found guilty of corruption. He further highlighted that the existence of double standards among figures of authority undermines efforts to effectively address the widespread corruption cases. Mr. Tembo also urged the government to safeguard the independence of law enforcement agencies, allowing them to operate without undue influence or interference from cabinet officials.
Our position on that one, I think this has been the missing link in the way we Zambians think about corruption, the way our government think about corruption fight. Look at this, changing the policy or the act concerning corruption cannot bring improvement in corruption fight just as long as the people are in power, they are not committed to serious corruption fight. As long as the people are in power are ready to commit double standards in corruption fight where this person can be arrested, this person, just as long as this person is close to them, cannot be arrested. Then, no matter which policy, it is not policies that fights corruption in Africa, in Zambia. What fights corruption is commitment by those who are in power. Just as long as our politicians are exhibiting double standards, they have corruption to fight and corruption not to fight. We can have as many policy changes, we can have acts amended or changed. Just as long as we are like this, nothing is going to change. What should change first is the attitude of politicians towards corruption fight. Because at the moment, even the acts that we have, it is okay as long as the people in power, they are not interfering with corruption fight. They are not dictating who to be arrested and who not to be arrested. If they can have no corruption to shield, then this act which we have, it can work effectively. So changing the law, we do not believe that is the solution. At the moment, that is what can help corruption fight to improve.
Governance expert and human rights advocate Wesley Mianda has urged Republican President Hakainde Hichilema to consider a cabinet reshuffle in light of persistent corruption within public institutions. Speaking in an interview with Camnet News, Mr. Mianda acknowledged the president's commitment to combating corruption, but expressed concern over setbacks caused by certain government officials whose actions undermine national development efforts. He highlighted the challenges faced by the Anti-Corruption Commission, ACC, noting that the institution has been struggling to operate effectively, contributing to the growing prevalence of corruption in public offices. He, however, expressed confidence in the recently appointed SEC board to strengthen anti-corruption measures and enhance institutions' effectiveness. Mr. Mianda further welcomed the recent Transparency International Zambia (TIZ) report on corruption, describing it as a valuable indicator of the impact of ongoing efforts to address corruption in public institutions.
Just as we know that when UPND came into power, they never established new institutions. The same Ministry of Health that they found is the one which is there. The same kind of workers, the same kind of public workers who used to be in the previous regimes are still there. So when you talk about corruption, it's something that cannot easily be eradicated. And that's the reason why President Hakainde Hichilema has been, actually is on record, trying to appeal to members of the public to put our heads together and see how we can actually fight this cancerous disease. Do we know that there are some people that have actually survived on corruption? Corruption has gone deep even to their bone marrows, and they cannot do without corruption. So for us to be on the safe side, there is need actually for every Jim and Jake to come together and see how best we can put up a good fight. The only unfortunate part of it is that the Anti-Corruption Commission, which is an institution mandated to actually spearhead the fight against corruption, has been limping from the time the board was dissolved by the president, and from the time the Director General was actually put aside. Actually, it has been limping, and the only person who was there was the acting Director General. But it's good that now we have the DEC, Drug Enforcement Commission, has actually been doing a lot of work that was supposed to be done by Anti-Corruption Commission. So with this, newly, established, newly, put board and the Director General of Anti-Corruption Commission, together with the Drug Enforcement Commission, and actually we are going to see a lot of, tangible results coming. Why? Because the two institutions actually work hand in hand.
The Keeping Girls in School initiative says it supported over 173,000 girls in 2024 across the country. In an interview with Camnet News, Initiative Assistant Coordinator Obi Musuma says the initiative is on course, ensuring that every girl child attains an education. Mr. Musuma says the initiative has since set up academic clinics in schools to help improve the girl child's performance during examinations. He says the clinics are tailor-made to make girls have more time for their studies away from the regular school schedule. The initiative has also disclosed that the education grant has since been increased from 600 kwacha to 800 kwacha per year per child to help alleviate financial difficulties faced by vulnerable girls in society.
Where we are supporting girls to access secondary education as well as tertiary education. In 2024, we cumulatively provided support to over 173,000 girls since project inception. But you rightly asked what we are doing to address the performance of our girls, not just being in school, but how well are they performing. So among our interventions, we have what we call academic clinics. The academic clinics, these are tailor-made to ensure that our girls who are not doing very well, coming from vulnerable households, have more of extra lessons. So in 2025, our plan is now to increase the frequency of those academic clinics so that we can boost their performance. We will be hosting the academic clinics every term to ensure that we match their performance. But in addition, we are constructing the weekly boarding facilities. Girls who are housed in boarding facilities usually have more time to study. They attend the preparations of study, which also helps them to perform better. We'll be providing also the education grants, which we have increased from 600 kwacha to 800 kwacha per year per child. That will help them to meet other requisites so that they focus on education as opposed to them to be looking for maybe money to meet their basic needs. So these are
Cabinet has approved the national policy for persons with disabilities, making a significant step toward enhancing the welfare and rights of persons with disabilities in Zambia. Minister of Community Development and Social Services, Principal Public Relations Officer Glenda Nachinga, says the decision was made during the third cabinet meeting held on February 11th, 2025, chaired by President Hakainde Hichilema. The policy aims to address critical areas including equality and non-discrimination, accessibility, health, education, and employment, ensuring a more inclusive society. Meanwhile, Permanent Secretary Ms. Angela Kawandami has described the approval as a major milestone in promoting social inclusion. She emphasized that the successful implementation of the policy will require collaboration with various stakeholders, including civil society organizations, the private sector, and the local communities. The Zambia Consumers Association has called on ZESCO for consistency power supply to the people. Speaking in an interview, Zaka Executive Director Juba Sakala says ZESCO has been promising power supply lasting for different hours, which has been inconsistent. He highlights that ZESCO supplies power at night when people are sleeping and questioned the usefulness of power at that time. He added that power needs to be provided when people are productive in order for them to carry out their responsibilities successfully. Mr. Sakala says that they appreciate the 7-hour power supply, but it should be consistent and provided at a time when people can use it. Therefore, he has urged ZESCO to take full responsibility for their statements and provide power as promised so that people can pay the given tariffs.
We've spoken that for a long time, even the utility companies. So we've been singing this for a long time. Nothing has changed yet. We are all in the same boat. Today they'll tell us they'll give you 4 hours, they'll give you 1 hour. Tomorrow they'll give you 7 hours, the other day 1 hour. They've been inconsistent. Their program is unsustainable. From now, it's important that ZESCO takes responsibility of their statements. If they say 7 hours, let it be 7 hours. And the worst thing is they will bring power at midnight to 02. What is it for? What's the rationale of having power at night when you should give power to people when they're productive, when they can use that power to use it for? But they always give power at the wrong time. So the 7 hours that they're saying, we appreciate it, but can it be consistent? Can it come at a time when people are able to use it? Do not bring 7 hours at 23 to 06. Who's going to wake up and start working? We know our offices are all far away from home. Who's going to wake up? No one works from home. We all have offices and companies where we work from. So it's important that you stick to that and give power to people when they are productive, so that that power is useful and they're able to pay the tariffs that you have given them.
The governing United Party for National Development, UPND National Trustee, Grace Chivube, has expressed gratitude to the government for introducing new banknotes, stating that the move will help recover funds that were allegedly withheld by financial offenders in the previous administration. Chivube says the initiative has come at the right time, ensuring that those responsible for financial mismanagement are held accountable. She adds that the introduction of larger notes will not disrupt transactions, as government will ensure supply of smaller to facilitate the smooth flow of transactions. Chivube has since urged the public to be wary of being deceived by individuals seeking to exchange old notes for new ones.
Very happy kuti ndalama ezi bazichinja bamene badandaula pa ndalama iyi ni bantu bamene banabisa ndalama mu matranks, none other than ba PF ni bamene bali na maukwa bags. Izi ndalama banazifaka banazishika zinankalo manyumba. Just imagine winangu mtu asunga about 62 billion $62 million. nichi pamene vanampasa bali na ndalama zingati. So what they did, chamene vanachita nichi Mazambians, vanachosa ndalama babisa kulila konse kwamene muli lelo ndi pamene bali ku forefront kuti cost of living basi vanakuziba chamene vanatinika beve vanatinika pakubisa ndalama bazichosamo bazisunga manyumba. So pozisunga zija ndalama manje badilingana muntu wamene sakumwapo moba wamene ayanganira bantu ba Zambia kuti bankale better life. So baleta ndalama ezi bazichinja new currency. Muntu amaenda na 2800. Ine ngati bantu banipasa $100 nikaichinja ni 2800 nienda nayo mu pocket, nienda nayo mu pesi. Manje 500 ma 100 hadi 5 1 2 3 4 5 ni amene muntu anga kangiwe kuenda nayo, ni amene anga kangiwe. So mulungu amapanga njira pali benjira. Ngati ukamba vintu vamene vili bepindu ku bantu ba mulungu, mulungu azakuletera pabwelu. Nomba naba mileta pabwelu, naba mileta pabwelu ishimpi ya mwalashi leta ama tranks yonse yo mwashikalya shaisa nomba na ashise shimpi ya nomba shaisa mufine mushichinje tatulebwelela nenu mata kwa befi akubwelenu fwe bale didinga tatubwelelele numa so bwesheni mpia shiye mu mabanki aba banki bake eshibo kuti lati imwe muli na ndalama zonse zimunazichosa kuti mwenze kufola ndalama zingati from 1 to 30 from January to December ndalama zamene mwenze unkala nazo ni zingati ku salary yanu. Ngati muli na business yanu impasa ndalama zingati ni pamene tindaziba who is who. Baja bantu bamene manabisa ndalama zakuba bazilete andi bamangiwe chifuka tisaka bafunsa.
Care for Nature has urged community members to take center stage in the fight against climate change to promote behavioral change. Speaking in an interview, Organization Executive Director King Sama says community involvement is crucial in promoting behavioral change, raising awareness and building resilience to climate-related disasters. Ms. Nsama says when communities are involved, they become agents of change, driving positive transformation from the ground level. She emphasizes that climate change is a collective problem that requires a collective solution, which requires stakeholders to start engaging local communities in the fight against climate change.
Initiative to combat climate change, it would be good to have such news. So we feel that with the role that journalists play in disseminating information, in sharing real life stories, it would be very helpful and also motivate people to also take climate action. The role of the public, climate change affects everyone. We are all affected or impacted in one way or the other. And for us to combat climate change, we need one behavioral change. How we are living in the time of the climate crisis, in terms of floods, in terms of drought, and what actions we can take collectively. For example, people who live near flood-prone areas, they know that trees play a very significant role in controlling flooding. So as a community, as a collective, people can invest in tree planting so that we help to control flooding. The same with the areas that are affected by drought. We know that sometimes drought may be as a result of deforestation, where a certain area has lost its tree cover and they are not receiving enough rainfall. So also again, it calls for communities to take part in tree planting and also to be part and parcel of initiatives that are being conducted either by government or by civil society organizations, so that we have more action as we talk about climate change. For us, we would like to thank the radio stations, the TV stations, the freelancers who have taken up to report on climate change, because when we hear the stories, we will take action, and when we take action, we will protect our communities from the devastating impacts of climate change. So as we prepare to celebrate our World Radio Day, we just wish all the people, the journalists, the media personnel, a very, very happy World Radio Day.
The Emerald and Semi-Precious Stone Mining Association of Zambia says the 15% tax introduction on precious minerals will greatly affect the sector if not scrapped off. Association's president Victor Kalesha says the introduction of the 15% has a negative impact on the sector in the country when government has set high hopes for the mining industry. Mr. Kalesha says the 15% will lead to sector players reducing exports and negatively affecting the industry and the economy at large. He adds that the sector did not perform well in 2024 due to the international wars in Ukraine, Russia and Israel, dropping the international market to 40%.
Global markets in gemstones has come down by 40 to 50%, some even 60% because of the wars that are happening in Ukraine, Russia, Israel, and in all these other areas where they are big buyers of these gemstones. So it did not perform so well, and now it has even been affected more in the beginning of this just first month, when government introduced the 15% export tax on gemstones. Many players stopped exporting by virtue of the 15%, because it's actually a non-friendly tax. It's exorbitant. It will kill businesses, and so the performance of 2024 gemstone our emerald market has not been very well due to such factors. If you search through, you'll find that even diamonds market are down by 70% on the international market. So all gemstones on the international market have been affected as such, and so would say generally the performance hasn't been very well. And we expect that 2025, if government would be able to attend to the 15% gemstone export tax, and also if we could see the wars in Russia and Ukraine and Israel, somewhere there, will come to an end. We will see, because those are big buyers of our gemstones, apart from India. So we would see that through that, we'll see an increase in the performance or in the trade or the sale of gemstones in the country and internationally.
We now go to Western Province, where Mongu District Agricultural Coordinator Christabel Kakumbi has urged farmers in the district to embrace pest control before, during and after the farming season. Ms. Kakumbi says pest control should not be the last resort, as it is an integral part of agriculture, stating that government is focused on integrated pest management training for farmers across the country. She says government is committed to ensuring that all agriculture-related programs run smoothly. Meanwhile, Kamaya Kalui, a farmer, appealed to government to assist farmers with pesticide for the 4 armyworms which are destroying their crops. Musia Wakavila now reports.
As most farmers across the country are expected to have a bumper harvest, the case is not the same with these farmers in Kande area. Some farmers in Kande area in Mongu District, Western Province, have expressed worry over the presence of 4 armyworms that is ravaging their maize fields. A check by Camnet reporter found the presence of the 4 armyworms in some selected fields. One of the farmers in the Kande area has called on the government to help them with a pesticide for them to use in their fields.
Fumana ikalulo ya butuku batuko kwa ntutu bizwasibu tusweli twasinya mbonyi aisaza maila mumangwele mumanene haizi mwasibunga kupa mliani wasibuku mbonyi yao na izi ele hile kwanu kwa Kande chele utokwa kuli fumba netuso kuzela kwa muso ikala kumba faa fweza mala about 5 cm ikona fwe wanala kuliyaka la kuziele aya mwasibunga iswe ili abulu mukatwa na apelo na resources za kuliwa kuna kuleka mjani.
And the other farmers who echoed similar concern are Narukoiwa Mundila and Musando, who stated that if government will not come to their aid, this will result in a poor harvest.
Kuvira kata basibuku sababu kesi ukata kalieka mwatunda ni mwendi about 5 years kesi ukata asibuku waikata takulima luli kono sibuku salu sinyeza sakala fa kuweza sibuku kaka zile zama ya mangwelemo yakala kuchiwa kwa sibuku haiko ya masibunga sibunga sisalio sicho ekisibuku chelo kupa kuti muso ulusote ni miliani Makande mo luizi Makande mo lwavira ya to lalila kwa full piece abana wana bakali kolo wamainifomu kwalibuka chile mbonya aisho wakakumandali kama nituso bana basikolo
luswahili walikanga katata kakuba balimi kuleka miliani kubeya kono halukwanisi kuleka miliani ya kuleka fera kakuba balimi baba inyani likaze zapala kuli lulikwanisi hande kono nako kafera luswahili lwa sinyehelwa huluki ona sibukuseo.
Mino, Mungu District Agriculture Coordinator Christabel Kakumbi acknowledged receiving the report, and she further urged farmers to buy pesticides for their fields.
That has since changed, in the sense that now government is still procuring chemicals, but in very, very small quantities. And their idea is that chemical control should be the last resort after all these other methods after all the other methods have failed. So we are now focusing on IPM training, integrated pest management training. Really urge the farmers to embrace this pest and plan for it. As they redeem for inputs from the agro dealers, let them get a bottle or two of chemicals depending on their field size, so that on their own they are able to control this pest. I've been getting a lot of phone calls. When are you bringing the chemicals? When are you bringing the... For now, the position is what I've mentioned.
Museo Kabira, Camnet News, in Kande area, Mungu District, Western Province.
And that particular report takes us to our first set of commercials. But do join us for international and sports news when we come back. Do stay tuned.
So grateful for your love.
The Healing Word Ministries International presents a Revisiting Our Foundation conference under the theme Revisiting Our Foundation, Breaking Iniquities and Building Legacies. Anointed teachings by Apostle Rodwell and Reverend Rose Simukonda blend timeless truth and modern insights. From Jesus Life Center Apostolic Church in Zambia, Kitwe, a gathering for all ages. Whether you are seeking wisdom, freedom, or fresh purpose, this conference is your divine reset. What to expect? Dynamic worship, from hymns to contemporary praise, ignite your spirit. Prophetic deliverance and healing, break cycles, restore joy, and reclaim your destiny. Why come? Grandparents, pass down legacy of faith. Parents, equip your family for breakthrough. Young adults, youth, discover your purpose in a shifting world. Kids, fun, faith-filled activities, ages 3 to 12 years old. Dates, 20th to 23rd, February 2025. Time, 17:30 hours to 19:30 hours. On the 22nd, we will be having special leadership training from 9 hours to 12:30 hours and 15 hours to 18 hours. Join us this Sunday, the 23rd, for a rebuild foundation service from 9 hours to 12 hours. Venue, the Healing Word Ministries International, opposite Hilltop Hospital, Ibex Hill, Kabulonga. Can't attend in person? Join our live stream on Facebook and YouTube. Stay connected. For more information, call or WhatsApp +260 962 965 883. Don't miss this. Bring your family, friends, and neighbors. Let's rebuild foundations where every generation finds hope, healing, and salvation.
Jesus, you are. Now you want to lift your
Time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our Zesco units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962 642 490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
Are you looking for a reliable and efficient courier company with international standards? Then let UBZ Courier, your trusted partner in swift and secure deliveries, be your ultimate choice. Whether it's a small package or a hefty consignment, UBZ Courier handles it all, locally and internationally. Our modern call center ensures personalized attention for every client. For seamless deliveries within Zambia and beyond, trust UBZ Courier. Call us now on +260 763 062 680 or visit us at plot number 15 Mwapona Road, Woodland, Lusaka, Zambia. UBZ Courier, a world-class brand that can be trusted.
Enjoy the benefits of an instant loan with us ranging from 1,000 kwacha to 750,000 kwacha paid express once collateral is viewed, valued and verified. Call us on 0763 595 359 or 0779 432 993. Classified Financial Express, here as your financial friend.
Welcome back and thank you so much for still joining us on the Camnet News Desk. And now in international news. Bukavu is in a state of unrest after M23 and AFC rebel groups took control of KAVUMU Airport, located just 45 kilometers from the city. This has led to unsettling silence in the city, with streets deserted and no civilian presence. The three communes of Bukavu have been largely abandoned, and only FDC soldiers and young local volunteers, known as Wazalendo, are visible in certain areas. While the takeover occurred without significant conflict, sporadic gunfire can still be heard in the city, increasing tensions. Political leaders have gone into hiding, and there are growing concerns that M23 and AFC forces have effectively taken control of South Kivu, raising fears of further rebel advances. The situation in Bukavu has deteriorated, with reports of widespread looting, mass displacement and growing fear among residents. As the conflict continues, the local population is left anxious about the future and what next stages of the unrest may bring. Here's a roundup of international news.
In a dramatic exchange, 3 Israeli hostages were released by Hamas militants in the southern Gaza Strip as part of a ceasefire deal. The men, Eyar Horn, Sagi Dekel Shen and Alexander Trufanov, were abducted during the October 7th attacks that sparked the ongoing conflict. They were paraded before a crowd in Gaza before being handed over to the Red Cross and transported to Israel for medical care and reunion with their families. The release comes as part of a larger ceasefire agreement which has seen hundreds of Palestinian prisoners freed in exchange for hostages. This marks the 6th exchange since the truce began in January. The situation remains tense, with concerns growing for the remaining hostages' well-being as the violence continues to affect both sides of the conflict. The city of Bukavu is in turmoil as M23 and AFC rebel groups have seized control of KAVUMU Airport, located just 45 kilometers from the city. In response, Bukavu has become quiet, with no traffic or people in the streets. The city's 3 communes are now deserted, with only FARDC soldiers and young local volunteers known as Wazalendo seen in certain areas. Residents describe the situation as a takeover without major conflict, though sporadic gunfire can still be heard. Political leaders have disappeared and rumours are swirling that M23 and AFC forces have liberated the South Kivu region, raising concerns about further rebel advances. The city is now in chaos, with reports of widespread looting, mass displacement and growing fear as the local population waits anxiously for what comes next in the ongoing conflict.
Pope Francis was admitted at the hospital on Friday after his week-long struggle with bronchitis took a turn for the worse, leading to treatment for a respiratory tract infection, according to the Vatican. This marks another health challenge for the 88-year-old pontiff, prompting him to cancel his schedule at least until Monday. Upon arriving at Rome's Gemelli Hospital after conducting his morning audiences, Francis was reported to be calm, in good spirits, and had read some newspapers, as stated by Vatican spokesperson Matteo Bruni. An evening update from the Vatican indicated that initial tests confirmed a respiratory tract infection, a mild fever, and that he was in a fair condition while receiving drug therapy at Gemelli. Francis had been experiencing breathing difficulties and was diagnosed with bronchitis on February 6th and yet continued to hold daily audiences from his Vatican hotel suite. He led an outdoor mass on Sunday and attended a general audience on Wednesday.
And finally, in sports news this evening, the Football Association of Zambia, FAZ, has come to the aid of 17-year-old under 20 national player Lydia Shamaline, after news broke that she had been struggling to make ends meet. Shamaline's situation was brought to public attention by journalist Aida Musakanya, prompting FAZ General Secretary Ruben Kamanga to reach out and locate the 17-year-old rising star in Chainda Township. During the visit, Mr. Kamanga provided the family with assorted groceries and financial assistance to help address their rental challenges. The association has since called on clubs to take care of young players, given FIFA's regulations on the remuneration of minors, which sets limitations on their financial support.
So uri mama timvela pempani mutanize kumutsekeko man
A 17-year-old under 20 Zambian national player has emotionally disclosed how she struggles to provide for herself and her 84-year-old grandmother.
So uri mama timvela pempani mutanize kumutsekeko man Once baba muniona munimvela kupempani kwa yini mutitandizeko nambia vanhu mutitandizeko nambia vanga kibeponkala.
Lydia Shamaline, a double orphan of Lusaka's Chainda compound, cried while explaining how she begs people every month to pay for her rent and buy food for her and her grandmother.
Nima mopempa vantu kundrama liapa msonga 200 sacha betalipia ukhafi 100 wasabo balance 400 kujala kwa evetu vutikila kujya timashitoho ya changu kuni kutipike timadia once kamozi nende nimetikila bora nte mandizira kuti natea natenga kauni bonus ka 500 na bolipia nyumba and chukuru shentera bora kuna ngasungile familia yangu shentera bora nifake kwa mtimu tizawisha tiwine tenge kwa tuma 500 chieto kuno nyumba basebenzise kwa gule butunga gule kumalasha ngasina chaye bora uli bebeti zati.
She says at some point she and her grand.
And that particular story brings us to the end of this edition of Main News on Camnet TV. But before we go, a recap of stories that made headlines. 4 suspected criminals die in bullet exchange with police. 15% tax a threat to the mining industry. National policy for persons with disability actualized. And in international news, Bukavu in turmoil as M23 and AFC rebels seize KAVUMU airport. In sports, FAZ aids struggling under-20 player. We now look at the Camnet verse for the day, coming from the book of Zephaniah, chapter 3 and verse 17. It reads, "The Lord thy God in the midst of thee is mighty. He will save, he will rejoice over thee with joy. He will rest in his love, he will joy over thee with singing." That ends the reading and that ends the main news on Camnet TV. Now, dear viewer, like always, remember, Camnet TV is not just another channel. Now, on behalf of the entire production team, I'm Tapelo, Joe Smarter. Good evening and God bless.